I'm driving right now, but I feel like something needs to be said. So, before I begin, everyone has a different definition of what an incel is. And the definition of incel I'm going to use is the classical definition of involuntary celibate, along with another definition of men that fit into the incel culture, and that may or may not include misogyny, and it typically includes self-hate. So one of the issues that starts people to be molded into incels is that at some point in society we were obsessed with conformity. We were obsessed with making people perfect and making them fit in, to the point where it was ruining lives, and people were dissatisfied with the lives that they were forced to fit into. Those people grew up, they don't want people to feel the way they did. They didn't want people to feel like they were living as frauds. And unfortunately, the pendulum was swung into a completely opposite direction, where we no longer were forcing people to conform. We were no longer forcing people to fit in, but it got to the point where we didn't encourage people to fit in, to be social, to modify behaviors that harm themselves and others. It got to the point where we told people to accept not quirks, not differences, not things that make them unique. We taught them to accept mental illness. We taught them to accept being antisocial, not being introverted. That's a completely different thing. These people grew up thinking and being told that they don't need to change their behaviors, and they don't need to be a better version of themselves, and that they'll receive unconditional love no matter what, just for existing. And the hard truth is that to be liked, you have to be likable. And these people don't go throughout their childhood doing important things like socializing with others, learning parts about them that other people don't like, and learning parts about them that they don't like. And so it gets to a very harsh reality check later in life when they're not going to parties like their friends are, and their friends are losing their virginity. Well, not their friends, but acquaintances, people at their school and such. And it dawns on them after all these years thinking that they were going to be loved by somebody, and they might not necessarily even be loved by their families. They need to find love somewhere. If they won't receive it unconditionally, they become desperate. And this is a big mistake that people make about incels. Sure, some of them probably are very sex desperate, but it's not the sex that they're after. These are people that are unloved, that desperately seek some kind of validation, love, whether it be through friendship or family, because a lot of these people don't really have real families. And they resent people that have what they don't. They become jealous. They resent people that give that kind of lives to others. And it's pretty late in their life when they're probably permanently scarred by years and years of neglecting themselves in many different ways, where it's not just a simple fix anymore. It's not just a simple turn of behavior. And they find people that are suffering like they are, and there's some harmful ideas going on in there, where they get taught that they're horrible, hideous, that nobody will love them. And these people become the family and friends and girlfriends. Not girlfriends, but they replace these friendships and relationships that they never have had and desperately want. And it's really more like a cult than anything, the incel groups. By the way, these people are way more likely to harm themselves than others. It's incredibly depressing and sad. And so they embrace whatever the group embraces, even if they don't agree with it. Everyone else here is a misogynist that hates women. I guess I'll be like that too. And it just festers, and it's an echo chamber, and it continues to fester. And it's hard to pull yourself out of this, because now these people are your only family, and they're hurting you, and you look to others for acceptance and guidance, and they won't give it to you, because in their eyes, you're a horrible, sex-obsessed misogynist, and these people, tell you to kill yourself, and that you're better off dead, and that they wish you would kill yourself. And unfortunately, that's really not a great way to take people out of what is like a cult. In my opinion, incels should be treated like cult members more than anything. We shouldn't be treating them as villains. We should be treating them like victims of a cult. And I guess a cult is like the correct definition here to use. It's a cult. I've said that many times before, but it is. And we have to start teaching people that accepting yourself and accepting your harmful behaviors are two different things. We should start embracing people getting better. We should start embracing people not only accepting their uniquenesses and quirks, but also not accepting things that will make them sad and isolated and lonely their whole lives. And we have to start understanding that these men are lonely and that they're just looking to be, well, treated like people. And they never have, they probably never will. And this is like a double-sided thing here, where these people can be pretty horrible, they can be pretty misogynistic and nasty, but we also shouldn't be treating them as if they deserve to die. And it's an oversimplification. I didn't want this video to get too long, but that is why incels become incels.